I'm pleased to say we can now speak to the government. Dame Angela Eagle, Minister of State for Border and Security and Asylum, joins us now. Dame Angela, thanks so much for being with us and good morning to you. So look, is the asylum system working at this stage as you would hope to? Which you've promised this extra £100 million is going to be allocated now. Is this system working as you had thought it would be at this stage in your administration?
Well, we inherited a huge mess with backlogs, hundreds of thousands of people trapped in hotels, nobody doing any processing. So we've speeded up processing. There was 70% fall before the general election. We've increased that to 116%. We've got the system working again. But obviously there are still issues in terms of the small boats crossings, and that's what the extra money that we're talking about today, the extra 100 million to the Border Security Commander, is going to help us deal with this challenge on our borders.
You inherited a message, you say, and many people will agree with you on that, but will you also agree with me that it's now gotten worse under this Labour government? 25,436 have now crossed the channel in small boats. That's the highest number at this time on record ever.
Well, the small boat crossing challenge remains formidable, which is why...
It's gotten worse, though, under this government, hasn't it?
It remains formidable, which is why we have allocated this extra money. This will be used for 300 extra National Crime Agency officers to do more intelligence. We've got 91 live investigations now. We've disrupted 350 gangs. We're making arrests of people smuggling kingpins, both within our own country and working with our colleagues across Europe. We have the new arrangements with the French, which are going to, I think, make a real difference. But this is an issue that is very complex, and there's no one silver bullet that's going to fix it. So anyone who thinks that it's going to be fixed immediately with the pressing of one button doesn't understand how complex and difficult this is, working across different jurisdictions, across borders, with communications that weren't properly established when we came into government. So we've done a lot of work internationally as well to try and establish both operationally and diplomatically the connections we need to bear down on this.
It's clearly difficult, and the previous government struggled with it as well. The numbers were high then. They wanted to get it down. This government, your government, has made it worse, I say. You said it's still a formidable challenge, but I mean, the numbers are up. If it's not worse, then how is it any better?
Well, it's, as I say, not going to be solved instantly. This is a hard daily grind of police work and intelligence work, international cooperation to bear down on all of this, and we are doing this. Just last week, we intercepted 25 boats at the Bulgarian border, for example, up to an average of 65, 70 people per boat, sometimes more. That's a lot of people prevented from crossing. So this is that kind of police work.
Do you think you're having an impact in some ways, but...
We're definitely having an impact, but it will take time for that to bear down on the actual numbers coming across.
Right. Now, this announcement today of this allocation of £100 million is, I think it's the third announcement in nearly as many days on trying to bear down on immigration. We also have had this announcement of cutting down on social media firms who promote people to come to this country on their platforms. It's not actually
the firms, by the way.
It's the individuals who are making those
who are
adverts.
Actually being given discounts on their fares across by the people smugglers for advertising how fantastic the journey was. So it's very important that we cut down and we can prosecute people for doing that. So that's not prosecuting the platforms at all, but the individuals involved.
Correct. Thank you for the clarification. I misspoke when saying that. So that's one of the moves. The other move as well is to speed up the appeals process of people who are here, have their asylum application rejected and then appeal against it. Currently it takes 54 weeks. How long should that appeals process take?
Well, we're trying to get it down for there to be a standard of 24, but we would want to get it down less, to even less time if we can, which is why we're talking about major reform of the asylum, the appeals system, because we had a paralysed system and we've done so much more first-tier decision-making. the pressure now has gone on to the appeals system, and it's important that end to end we can get people's decisions decided as quickly as possible. We can deport them if they've failed, like we've sent back 35,000 people since the election who are failed asylum seekers or foreign national offenders, people who shouldn't be here. So we're just making the whole system more efficient and effective, and hopefully that it takes less time. That's the key thing. We inherited a system that just wasn't working.
Now, previously, the asylum acceptance rate was at 61%. The year ending March 25 is at 49%. Why is the number of people being granted asylum here, why has that gone down?
Well, it's done on a case-by-case basis, and it's done by independent caseworkers listening to each person's story. It's interesting that it's gone down. It probably means that more people are trying to claim asylum who don't actually qualify, and we want those people who have failed asylum seekers to return to their countries of origin.
It would suggest that perhaps there's a toughening of the rules around people who are granted asylum, but the argument would be...
I mean, the NABA, the Borders Act, toughened some of that.
And despite that, we are seeing, on a weekly basis, people on the streets protesting outside asylum hotels. Is the government fearful that there are going to be more and more of these protests? This is the latest one this weekend. You'll know there are more planned for next week.
Well, look, there are fewer asylum hotels than there were when we came into government, and half the number than there were at the height of this problem. There's 6,000 fewer people in asylum hotels in the first quarter of this year than there were in the last quarter of 2024. So we're making progress, but there's no quick magic wand that's going to switch this off. We have said we will get out of asylum hotels by the end of the Parliament. We're determined to do that.
OK. My question is, how are you going to satisfy the people who are on the streets? I mean, I'm sure we've got some pictures.
They have a right to protest, and that's absolutely fine. They don't have a right to attack the police, which a few scattered attempts have been made. But one mustn't mix up people's genuine concerns and worries peacefully expressed with those who are trying to turn it into violence.
Well, I do wonder what your message is to people on the streets at these protests, with people shouting things like, get this scum off our streets, and also holding banners saying protecting women and children is not far right, it's just right. What's your message to those people on the streets with
of course
England
we have
flags
to
and British
protect
flags?
women and children from any person who commits crime against them, whatever their origins. It's really important that all criminality in this area is cracked down on hard, wherever it comes from, and the police will police without fear or favour.
Dame Angela, I want you to speak to the people who are protesting, who are expressing their anger. What do you say to them? Because my point to you is that despite you saying that it's a formidable challenge, but you're getting a handle on it, despite you saying that all these things you're putting in place are going to go some way to stopping the boats, people aren't feeling that at all. And I want you to speak to them and tell them how you're going to make them, as they say, feel safer on their streets.
Well, we have Safer Streets initiatives. We've got 3,000 extra police on the beat because of an investment of £1.5 billion. We're cracking down on knife crime. We're doing a range of things to make people safer on the streets.
With all due respect, that's slightly tangential to the question I'm asking you about asylum hotels.
I'd say that we hear your worries. We are doing all we can to deal with the challenges that the police are facing on the streets, to make sure that women and girls are safe, and in fact that everybody is safe on our streets.
And you'll speak directly to those who are saying, get these scum off our streets. You'll know that you're being outflanked. Sorry, let me put the question. You know you're being outflanked by people who want everyone seeking asylum, everyone who's come here illegally, just to be deported.
Well, it's easy to say that that's what you want to do, but in order to send somebody back to a country of origin, you have to get that country to issue emergency travel documents. You have to, first of all, find out which country they're from and then deal with it. So it's easy to make a blithe statement like that. It's much harder to do it in practice. We are doing the detailed work. We've taken 35,000 people off our streets who have no right to be in our country and sent them back to their countries of origin within a year. That is far higher than our predecessors ever managed. We are going to, some of the money that's announced today will go towards immigration enforcement, cracking down on illegal working, arresting people who have no right to be here, and detaining them and deporting them. So we are doing that work. I would say, I understand your worries, but be patient. We are delivering in a complex environment.
They seem very angry. Look, final couple of points on this then. We've got
but anger doesn't get you anywhere. What we have to do is recognise the values we have in this country, the rule of law we have in this country, the work we're doing with the police to protect people. We will close asylum hotels by the end of the Parliament. We'll do it faster if we can, and we can do that by getting this system working and moving and doing more work to protect our borders, working with our international colleagues, not only in France but across Europe and in all the smuggling areas.
Quick final thought, because I know you've got to go. This one in, one out scheme that was announced back in July, when is that going to actually come into force? When's that actually going to start?
Well, I think the Home Secretary will have some announcements pretty soon on that scheme. It's the first time we've had a return scheme with any country in Europe since we came out of the European Union. It's a pilot scheme to see what works, and we're looking forward to it starting very soon.
Dame Angela Eagle, thank you for your time this morning. Good morning to you.